Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Sims 4, and welcome to my first speed build in about 6 months, so, I think we might be in for a little bit of a interesting ride here today. Anyway, what are we building? I'm reluctant to call this my dream home, because, well, it's not my dream home, but it is a really nice home that I would totally live in, so interpret that how you may. I asked on Twitter what I should build in The Sims on the 5,000 subscriber live stream, and the most suggestions were your dream home, and I'm always reluctant to approach the idea of building a dream home, and it's not because I don't want to share, oh, this is my dream home. I don't know what my dream home would be, my dream home would be like, oh, swimming pool, gaming rooms, indoor theater, indoor theater, I mean, in-home theater, home gym, home this, home that, like, I would have a home where I would never really need to leave, I would have, like, a proper, like, 4K projector on a huge screen with lots of seats, and that can be linked up to Blu-ray players and computers and consoles, so, like, my dream home is not a reality. And this is the thing, I see loads of people do a dream home and it's like, oh, it's humble and it's this. It's like, no, that's not a dream home, that's like an ideal home. Like, if you think about it, think about like a proper dream home, it's probably going to be something that you look at and go, yeah, this is never going to happen. But I'm not, I'm not saying, don't let your dreams just be dreams, but let's be honest, you're probably not going to have a home with a gym and a 4K projector hooked up to, all these things, the giant screen. That's, Shia LaBeouf aside, probably not gonna happen. Anyway, some details about the house. It's got 3 bathrooms, one of which is an ensuite. It's got a master bedroom and a spare bedroom, which could be used as a kid's bedroom if you really wanted it to. It's not very big. 2 floors. And what else have we got? We've got a kitchen dining room combo. We have an office at the front of the house, which is kind of inspired by my own room. We have a gym in the house. We have a nice quiet study upstairs. There's a lot of interesting space in this house, let's put it that way. Also, can I just mention that extending the front of the house the way I just did with the angled pieces, I'm so glad I did that, because if I didn't, this house would have looked so boring. I mean, it is a big box, don't get me wrong, there's not a lot of detail on the exterior of the building, but that said, I think it's the inside that counts, if I'm honest. I'm just gonna say it. I think the inside of this build is probably where it shines. Like I said, I haven't built properly in like 6 months, so I'm a little rusty. Anyway, doing some floor plan layouts on the inside here. That big room at the back of the house is the kitchen dining room combo. Bottom left there is the study. We're currently shaping what's going to become the gym and living room there on the right. And now we're moving up. Oh, by the way, the room at the back of the stairs is the downstairs bathroom. And now what we're doing is basically creating a large atrium area, a big kind of foyer area that you can come into the house and look up through. And it's going to look so good. And you know what? I'm going to say it. It does look so good. I'm so pleased with how this area turned out. It really just, it's exactly what I wanted. It's so pretty, and I absolutely love that. It is honestly just spot on what I wanted. Anyway, going ahead here and continuing the floor plan. The big space above the kitchen there is the master bedroom. I was originally going to have some attic space. We do get rid of that and extend the kind of landing area at the top of the stairs back a bit. I'm not quite sure when we do that, but we do it eventually, just having to do some work with roofing there. Now, this bit above the doorway, I kind of wanted rid of, and it does have some issues a little bit later on, but I think it kind of works, honestly. I'm kind of glad it's there in the end. I am kind of glad it's there in the end, because it gives me a little interesting area, and when I built it, it wasn't something I thought about. I didn't sit there thinking I kind of want an area to sit above the entrance to my house, but in doing that, it's actually a really cool idea. Not gonna lie, I'm kind of happy with it. Anyway, here we go, just removing the stairs and continuing that landing back into the space that they used to occupy, and doing some roofing, which thankfully was so easy to do on this house. Roofing is something I cannot do in The Sims. Also, in case you were wondering what that structure is on the right, it's a garage, and I'm actually really pleased with how it turned out as well. I'm not gonna lie, I'm really pleased with how this entire house turned out. Also, at the time of recording this commentary, I haven't actually tested everything, so if you see something that you think doesn't work or won't work, it may be different when you download it, because I kind of sat down to record this commentary and have forgotten to test it, so I'll test the home. I mean, it'll be fully tested and it'll be fully working if you download it, but at the time of recording this commentary, I don't know if it'll work. So, some things may be a little bit different in the version that you download. Anyway, here we go, just adding some stone around the lower floor of the house. I was originally going to go for some colors, and I wanted the big stone section up through the middle, but I'm so glad I changed it. I think it looks so good with the stone around that ground floor, and then the kind of white walls upstairs, and the big stone chunk going up the middle there as well. It's so nice. Oh, just punched my mic. Good job, me. So professional. Anyway, putting some lighting in now. The place was quite dark, and this was all being built on the stream, by the way. So a lot of what I was doing at this point was kind of being influenced by what people in the stream chat were saying, and honestly, I think people in the stream chat are better, you know, interior designers and better kind of floor plan designers than I am, because a lot of the choices I made were kind of criticized, although I will say, I went with a lot of pastel colors in this house, and a lot of people in chat were criticizing me for it, because apparently people don't like pastel colors. I mean, I like them, and I think they wind up working. And let me just explain why I like pastel colors. And this is an argument I always make. Walls are not features. You do not have a wall, unless it is a feature wall, which we actually have 2 or 3 of in this house, in 3 different rooms. Walls are not features unless it is specifically a feature wall. So you shouldn't really have big, vibrant, colorful walls, because then you're going to be overwhelmed with color. Then you have to match everything to that color, otherwise it just looks completely off. But if you have a kind of muted, kind of faded, sort of subtle color to the walls of your room, you can sort of put things on that to bring more color in, and you can complement the really subtle color with a much, much stronger color. And it's what I do throughout this house. I use subtle colors in the walls, and I know there's some bright greens and bright reds in there, that does change. But I use subtle colors in the wall, or, you know, pale blues like in the foyer here, and I use that and accent it with other colors, you know, and these stronger colors stand out even more than they would if, you know, the walls were a very strong blue and then there was a very strong yellow plant. You know, what is the feature when your walls are ridiculously bright blue and the plant is like bright yellow? It's kind of, you know, they may complement each other. Blue and yellow can work, but one needs to be stronger than the other. And in the case of walls versus an object, I do it later in the build as well. In the foyer, there's, you know, the faded kind of subtle blue walls with a nice bright yellow sunflower in the middle of the room, and it just works. It does. Anyway, we're in the kitchen here. The kitchen's got a nice bit of space to it. Very open, quite grand, and I do like it. I don't believe it stays green. I think I change it to a different color. Going ahead and putting some cabinets in here. That corner cabinet was giving me all sorts of trouble. For whatever reason, it did not want to place the way I wanted it. So I had to put on auto counters, which really I should have done to begin with, but again, for whatever reason, I didn't. Now, you'll notice something through this house, and it's something you may have already noticed, but I'll point it out now, a little bit late. There are no windows yet in any of the rooms apart from the ones at the front of the house. And the reason for that is that I am not really good at planning things, so I'm not very good at planning things, and I'm not very good at building structures. You know, like I said, I haven't built in a long time, and you've seen it already, the structure is a big square. What I like to think I can do, though, is an interior. So I don't sort of restrict myself by putting windows in to begin with. I build the best interior I can, using all the walls I can, and using all the space I can, not worrying about windows, and then I fit the windows around the interior. And the reason I do that is, you know, like I said, I'm not a great builder, but it's also because the thing you're going to look at the most is the interior. That's where you're playing. You're not really going to be looking at the outside of your household that much unless you're renovating it. At which point, you know, then it becomes your build. You know, if you download this, for example, you know, then it becomes your build and not mine. You know, it's based off of mine, but it is your build at that point. So, you know, I don't restrict myself like that. And I know some people work the other way. Some people need that sort of, this is the design of my house, this is where the windows are, we furnish around it. I sort of work from the inside out because it just works that way for me. Anyway, the kitchen there, you can see all sorts of clutter in it. I'm so happy with how it turned out. We have obviously moved into this new room, which is the front study. And I absolutely love this room because it is so me, you know? I have that chair. I do. I have that chair, that exact one. And the room just turns out so me. There's 2 guitars, a lot of clutter, just bits and pieces. We have the screen there above the gaming rig, which, you know, works out pretty well. Lots of clutter on the desk. We've got the tablet there, which I have to the left of my my screens. I've got the tablet there. I have a clock on my desk. I have pens and pencils. I have books. Well, I don't have books. I've got DVDs, but, you know, whatever. You know, I have all this clutter, and I've got boxes in my room, and I've just got all this lying around my desk that... And like I said, you know, it's not a mess. It's stuff that I use. I'm too lazy to get up and get it, so I just leave it kind of around my desk. And it just works, you know? I really am just so pleased with how this room works. It's full of stuff, and it makes it look lived in. And this is something, it took me, you know, playing The Sims 1 and playing The Sims 2 and playing The Sims 3, it took me until The Sims 4 to realize that what makes a house a home in these games is the clutter. It's the mess you make. You know, your house isn't going to be spotless, it's going to be messy, things are going to be at angles, things are going to be all over the place, you know. You're going to have books tucked under tables, you're going to have things in boxes, and it's going to be a complete mess, and I'm okay with that. I love building that way because it's kind of how I live. I'm a bit of a mess from time to time. Anyway, we've moved on here into the living room, and this, I spent quite a bit of time working on the living room because of the weird shape of it. I was kind of unsure what to do, really, because the door's in a weird place, the room's a weird shape, and, you know, getting furniture in here just sort of blocked off ways through the room. It looked awkward, it looked strange. It didn't look right, so what I did was I moved all the furniture down and I separated it into 2 rooms. And I'm quite glad I did that because it gives it, it makes it a little bit more cozy, it makes it look more like a living room. The layout you're seeing there is not the one we go with. Well, I've just changed it to the one we start going with, which is the TV on the wall, the 2 chairs in one side, the sofa on the other, and then the table below it. And I like it, I do. And this room, as well, has all sorts of clutter. It does, and the reason for that, once again, is it makes it look lived in, you know? It just makes it look like people actually live here, and it's not just this spotless show house. So, clutter, for me, is absolutely the way to go. Anyway, putting some plants in there like you saw, putting this rug in there, and there goes the clutter. Of course, some books beside the chairs there. I put some stuff. Oh, yes, these below the coffee table. I thought they looked like PS3s, so I wanted to put, I think it's like the police folders, but I turned them around backwards. I've got a blue one and a green one. They both look like PS3s, but in my mind, that's a PlayStation 4 and an Xbox One, you know, blue and green. I thought they looked like games consoles or DVD players, whatever you want, or Blu-ray players, I suppose. I call them DVD players because I don't have a Blu-ray player, but whatever. And now putting that little cabinet behind the sofa there, that's actually sort of a nod to the house I live in at the moment. I realize, like, I inherit this house that I'm living in, you know, this will someday be my house, and I live with my grandparents, and they have a lot of, oh yeah, but just before we get onto that, the gold on the table there, I was so tempted to do just to show people how rich I was, but whatever. There you go with the bright yellow, by the way, accenting the blue. Anyway, story time. So, I live with my grandparents, and they have a lot of antiques, and it's in cabinets like that, and I realized I'm probably always going to have those with me. You know, I don't collect antiques, I'm not interested in antiques. But it's just, I like having them, you know, we have old war medals from relatives that were in World War I and II, we've got all that kind of stuff, and it's really cool to have, honestly. There's stuff I put in this house later on, like, there's some old maps that I put in upstairs, and there's some old, like, skeleton keys that I put in the walls, and I realized that I do like old maps. I like looking at maps, and I kind of like keys. Keys are kind of cool and weird and all sorts of different shapes and sizes. So I just thought, you know, I'll put those in there. There's something I don't collect, but if I had the opportunity to acquire a weird key or a weird map, I would totally do it. Just because, it's a bit strange, you know? Not everyone collects maps that's 21 years old. Not everyone kind of has an interest in keys. Anyway, you saw me there decorating the foyer downstairs. This is the downstairs bathroom, which is a little bit cramped. There is a much smaller one upstairs. But this turns out alright, you know? It doesn't need to be a fancy room. I mean, your Sims aren't going to spend a lot of time in here, but I did want to get just some details in to once again make it look lived in. This is one of the tidiest rooms of the house just because it's, again, it's not something I'm going to spend a lot of time in. Now, this room that we created when we split the living room, or the former living room, in two, this becomes the home gym, and I actually like it, honestly. I was thinking it could be a study to begin with, and then I realized a gym is probably the better option. And I really wanted to get, I wanted to get those 2 exercise machines in there, but I didn't know if it would work, and I kind of realized that, you know, you would never, ever have a treadmill set up the way it is with an exercise machine behind it, because, and I know this for a fact because you're always kind of told this in gyms, and we learned it in school as well, if you fly off that thing, you'll probably wind up killing yourself if you hit another piece of equipment, so that's why you'd never have it there. A punching bag's fine because it's a bit softer. And this room in general, I like the posters we put in. I like having the corkboard there. I think it just turned out alright. Now notice all the posters are of sports figures as well, so it is all fitting. We do move those about in a little bit when we decide to put some windows in, but I think it turned out. Actually, we kind of moved them about quite soon. Honestly, there we go, putting all the windows in. I wanted 3 windows along there, so I just sort of moved things about and made it work, and it does. You know, this is actually, I think, the last thing I do, or the last major thing I do to the ground floor. Also, I wanted 3 windows on one, I wanted 2 more windows on that side of the kitchen that I'm currently looking at, so in a moment we do move some of the cabinets about, and just adjust it a little bit to get more windows in there. I wanted curtains around this back door, but there was nothing that fit. There was nothing that didn't look ridiculous. I also wanted some clutter in this corner, so I wound up adding a box and a baseball bat. I did want to add a duffel bag, but that wasn't happening, and you just saw me add some old computer hard drives to my office. Here we go, adding in the extra windows, of course moving the lights a little bit. I just wanted that there because I realized the side of the house looked a bit bare. So, oh god, I haven't done this in so long, I'm almost out of breath, but I'm sticking through it. I'll do it, I'll be fine. Here we are on the master bedroom, a general theme of kind of red, black, and white in here. Most of the furniture is red and black, the walls are obviously red and white. I love this, I do. I love what I did around these drawers here, because I put so much clutter around it. And I don't know how many times I've said clutter in this video, and I'm sure you are sick of hearing the word clutter, but there's such a mess around it, and it just looks so used and lived in, and like people actually live here. And that makes me so happy. It really does. It makes me so happy. Just adjusting that rug there to make sure it didn't stick through the wall. We end up adding a painting above the bed. That actually goes away later in favor of windows. And just a little interesting thing here that you might not realize. I'm just saying this because I'm glad I thought of it. I put a light on the right hand side of the bed there with the picture, and I had some books on the left, and I realized The light should probably be with the books because the person reading is gonna need the light as opposed to the person who doesn't have books to read. So yeah, I thought that was kind of cool that I thought of that. I'm gonna say it. I'm quite happy I thought of that. Also added a thing downstairs because I found it, and I wanted to add these hearts in the wall because I thought they were adorable. Anyway, here we go, just adding in the upstairs bathrooms. Obviously one of them en suite, not done. This bathroom here does end up changing shape a little bit. Just because of how the baths work in the game. So every object, or at least most objects, have a little arrow telling you what side they work from. And the baths do too. Even though technically a lot of them you could get in from both sides, but I didn't want to chance it not working, so I just flipped the bathroom round so the baths were sort of facing the right way. I also wanted the... Well, yeah, I just wanted it facing the... I wanted it facing the right way, that's pretty much it. I kind of didn't want to run into the issue later on in testing, which I still need to do. Yeah, let's remember that. I didn't want to run into the issue of having to completely redo the bathroom in the testing phase, because that would mean, you know, going back and re-recording things and, you know, doing it all again. And I mean, I know I could have done that, but I could have eliminated that problem, and I did eliminate that problem by simply doing the bathroom a different way, which in the end kind of works. And you might be questioning that pink painting. I like it, okay? I do. Also, this at the top of the stairs, yes, it looks silly, but I end up making this work with the addition of some shelves, pretty much. And I wanted to get the lighting even there, but it wasn't having any of it, so... You know, I kind of toyed about with things to make it look like the shelves were held up, but in the end, I actually just leave them the way they are, because it kind of grows on me. It sort of looks like the paintings are on the shelves leaning against the wall, and it just sort of looks like the shelves are kind of an accent. I don't know. I just like it. I do. I like it. And there is a massive spider hanging from my ceiling that I really want to go and kill right now. It's just looking at me. Hello. Anyway, do you enjoy The Sims? Oh no, you're going back up. Okay, he's going back up to the ceiling. Anyway, this is... wow. This is the area above the stairs that I was talking about. And I was originally just going to have something up there for decorative purposes. The spider, I just see it in the corner of my eye. I was going to have something up there for decorative purposes, but in the end I made it an area that you could actually sit down and just sort of relax in. It's something a bit different, but I can imagine sitting up there would be really relaxing, honestly. Also, the roof coming through the wall is kind of annoying, not gonna lie. Now, here's what I was talking about with maps. I put two of the same map on both walls there. Just imagine they're different, okay? Just imagine they're different. I like maps, I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, this is the upstairs study that I was talking about. It comes off of, or it leads into, technically, that upstairs relaxation area that we just got done with. And can I just mention that this is legitimately something I've lost sight of the spider. He's on my desk somewhere. Oh, that's gonna be fun later. This is legitimately something I would love in a home. A big red leather armchair just to sit back and read a book in or play a console or something. I would really love that to be a thing that I have, because I don't know, it's kind of that classic image, isn't it? A big red leather armchair with like mahogany bookshelves and leatherback books, you know, behind it. It would look great, and I would feel so fancy and have so many smoking jackets to wear in that chair that really I would probably never leave it. So me not having it is probably a good thing. Anyway, here we go, moving into the spare bedroom. Like I said, this could double as a child's bedroom if you just sort of change the colors a little bit, or redecorate, or you could expand it, or really you could turn anything in this house into... Oh, I just punched the microphone again. Great, good job. This is going so well. I'm leaving it in. I'm not redoing this commentary. It's fine. It's a good commentary, except when I punch the mic and talk to a spider. Yeah, you can have any room be anything. Just go download the house and do it yourself. Simple as that. If you don't like it, go and download it. Now you'll see me here moving on to do a little bit of landscaping with some trees and stuff like that, and then suddenly I realize, wait a minute, didn't do windows. Yeah, this is the slight flaw with my strategy of doing windows last. Sometimes I forget to do them all together. And I'm not gonna lie, there have been moments in the past where I built these grand houses and thought, oh good, I'm done. And I start playing it and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I don't have any windows on this house except for the front. Good job, me. But, you know, we add them in and it's all good. You also saw me adding in the window, 2 more windows to the master bedroom there, and now we're on to some landscaping. We end up doing all this landscaping, or at least most of it, before we do the garage, and the garage is one of my favorite spaces in this house. It really is. Also doing some terrain paints here just to make it look like the, it's kind of a worn-in area. Again, this is a thing I love doing. I love making it look like these houses are used. I use terrain paints to make it look like the grass has been trampled a little bit in some places. I did terrain paints along all the posts on the fence here to make it look like the fence had been dug into the ground. I do little things like that just to add more detail, and it works. It really does. It just works and makes it look that little bit more detailed, and I absolutely adore it. Now here we go, just adding in more plants along here. I decided to go for the slightly more purpley pink ones, and I didn't realize that there are full square tile plants here, but I'm kind of glad I didn't realize it at the time, because I like the little pattern I went with there. Just adding in more plants alongside here, along by the back door, and then filling in this space back here as well. And again, I think it works. I do. Again, using those kind of angled pieces there to just add a little bit of detail, put a birch tree in there, a smaller tree beside it, a couple of hedges along there, and then just, you know, making it look like the pathway had some dirt around it. Again, just little things like that to add some detail to the house. And now we're on to the garage, which I love this space. I do. I think it's a really nice space out here, and it just works, you know? It really does. I was a bit disappointed that you can't have stairs go just straight up to a door. That seems a little bit silly, but you know, it's The Sims. These things happen. Light above it, and then the garage needs a good light. I decided to go for that light there, the kind of, what is it, fluorescent tubes or something tubes. Some kind of tube light that goes in that thing. It's like you'd find in a classroom. And then, of course, the car you saw going in there. We have a workbench. It's the woodworking table. We have a crate there with a light on it. The light's actually not really working because this is technically outside, but, you know, we'll overlook that. But just loads of little things in the garage. I did want to put those crates in there, but they kind of work weird with the foundations. Same with the canvases there. This didn't, though, so I'm so happy about that. Basically, the garage just has a lot of clutter. The garage is just made of clutter, and I love it so much. I do. It just works. Anyway, folks, that is pretty much going to be it. We do a little bit more landscaping just back here, and then we're done with the house. So we're going to go into some screenshots to show off the house, but yeah, that is it. Thank you very much for watching. It's weird doing this again, I'm going to be honest, but I'm pretty happy with how this house turned out. Of course, you can find it on the gallery. There will be a guide to doing so in the description. Once again, thank you kindly for watching. This has been The Sims 4. I've been the ConflictNerd, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye!